What if you are not entirely human? Your blood, your bones, your mind, all carrying fragments of something older, something not from this earth. For centuries, scientists have dissected fossils, decoded DNA, and mapped the stars, hoping to understand where we came from. Yet, the deeper they look, the stranger it becomes. Because buried beneath the comfortable story of evolution lies a forgotten chapter, one that whispers of a mother civilization, erased by time and sea. Its name was Mu. Some say it was the cradle of humanity. Others believe it was never human at all. According to the few who dared to investigate, Mu was not myth, but memory, a memory older than Egypt, older than Sumer, older than the idea of civilization itself. And if that's true, then the story of who we are did not begin on this planet. In the late 1800s, one man believed he had found proof of this hidden origin. His name was Augustus Le Plongeon, an archaeologist obsessed with the ruins of the ancient Maya. While others saw stones and glyphs, Le Plongeon saw patterns, fragments of a language older than history itself. He claimed that the Mayan civilization was not the beginning, but the echo of an even greater one, Mu, the mother continent, drowned somewhere in the vast Pacific. Le Plongeon's theory shattered academic conventions. He argued that Egypt itself was born from Mu's survivors, spreading their knowledge across oceans. To his peers, it was madness, romantic speculation at best. But behind his eccentricity was an intuition few could ignore. He sensed a missing link between civilizations, a thread connecting distant worlds. And though his ideas were dismissed and his career buried, that same thread would resurface decades later, in the hands of a man who claimed to have seen the sacred records of Mu itself. Decades after Le Plongeon's death, the story of Mu refused to fade. In 1926, a British colonel named James Churchward claimed he had rediscovered the lost truth, not in ruins, but in ancient tablets hidden deep within an Indian temple. He called them the Nakal tablets, written in an extinct language known as Nagamaya. According to Churchward, these tablets were older than any scripture on earth. They spoke of a continent that had once ruled the world, a paradise of peace and knowledge, home to 64 million souls. Mu, he wrote, was the birthplace of humankind. From it came the ancestors of the Egyptians, the Mayans, and the Hindus. Its people harnessed a force of nature, a primal energy that flowed through all living things, until their civilization was swallowed by the sea. Churchward's claims spread like wildfire. He published books, maps, and diagrams describing Mu's rise and annihilation. Yet no one ever saw the tablets but him. To scientists, it was fantasy, to mystics, revelation. And still, his words resonated, because they didn't just tell of a continent lost to the ocean, but of a truth buried in the human soul, the feeling that we have been here before, and forgotten. Imagine a world before recorded history, a continent bathed in light, where architecture reached for the stars, and knowledge pulsed through the air like an unseen current. This was Mu, as Churchward described it, not a primitive culture, but a civilization that understood the invisible laws of the cosmos. Its temples aligned perfectly with constellations, its people lived in harmony with the magnetic breath of the planet. They built with a material that shimmered under the sun, something neither stone nor metal, a lost element of both art and science. In his vision, Mu was the original Eden, the first attempt at balance between human and divine. But as every myth warns, balance is fragile. Pride grew. Curiosity turned to ambition. The power they once revered began to consume them. And so, according to Churchward's translations, the earth responded. Mountains trembled, oceans rose, and the sky itself ignited. In a single night, the mother civilization, the womb of humanity, vanished beneath the Pacific waves. Only fragments remained, whispers in stone, echoes in DNA, and stories that refused to die. It began with tremors, faint at first, like the heartbeat of a restless god. Then the ground split open. Fire erupted from beneath the temples, swallowing cities whole. The air turned red, the ocean began to boil. According to Churchward's translations, it happened in a single night. The sky tore apart as if reality itself was collapsing, and Mu, the paradise of 64 million souls, sank into darkness. There was no time for escape, no warning, only silence and ash. Survivors, he claimed, fled on great vessels, scattering across the world, to Egypt, to India, to the Americas. They carried fragments of their language, their science, their faith, seeds that would sprout into new civilizations. And when the sea finally closed over the last mountaintop, the memory of Mu was sealed beneath miles of salt and time. Yet, in myths from every corner of the earth, there echoes the same refrain, a world that drowned, and a humanity forced to begin again. Across the planet, ruins separated by oceans whisper the same geometry. Pyramids in Egypt, ziggurats in Mesopotamia, and step temples in Central America, all built with astonishing precision, aligned to the same stars. Coincidence, say some. Memory, say others. What if these weren't isolated miracles of engineering, but echoes of a shared inheritance? Churchward believed the survivors of Mu carried fragments of lost knowledge wherever they fled, a code written not in words, but in stone. Mathematicians still find recurring ratios, the same sacred geometry in pyramids, megaliths, and ancient maps. It's as if every civilization remembered the same design, the same invisible pattern beneath creation. Were they rebuilding what they once knew? Or repeating instructions passed down from a world that no longer exists? Not every legend speaks of Mu's fall as a natural disaster. Some call it judgment. In ancient tales, when mortals mingled with beings of the sky, the balance of creation broke. The earth, they say, cleansed itself. The flood that drowned the world was not an accident, it was correction. Mu, then, was not destroyed by the ocean, but by the consequence of forbidden union, a merging of bloodlines never meant to coexist. If true, the fall of Mu was not an end, but a reset. A cycle. A warning that echoes through every myth of gods and men. That knowledge without humility always sinks, and the sea remembers. Modern science rejects Mu. No continent-sized landmass has ever been found beneath the Pacific. No geological fault, no evidence of sudden collapse. The Nakal tablets, the foundation of Churchward's theory, were never verified, never photographed, never seen by another soul. Archaeologists call it pseudoscience. Linguists dismiss it as fantasy. And yet, from Polynesia to Mesoamerica, from India to the Andes, humanity repeats the same dream, of a sunken land, a golden age lost to water and fire. Coincidence? Or memory encoded in myth? Science can map the ocean floor, trace our genes, and measure time itself. But it cannot explain why so many of us remember a world that should never have existed. Perhaps Mu never existed, at least, not as a continent. Some scientists believe that the story could be an echo of real events, the flooding of Sundaland in Southeast Asia, or the sinking of Doggerland between Britain and Europe, when the last ice age ended. Entire cultures vanished beneath rising seas. Maybe Mu was never a place, but a symbol, a word that ancient scribes used to describe loss, exile, and rebirth. Myths are containers of memory. They hold not geography, but emotion, the collective trauma of civilizations erased by the planet's own hand. If so, Mu still exists, not on the seafloor, but in the deep waters of our unconscious, where the memory of survival endures. If the story of Mu has awakened something in you, a question you can't unhear, then you're already part of the search. Subscribe to Beyond the Sky, where every forgotten truth, every shadowed mystery, and every echo from the stars awaits those who dare to look beyond.